I mean, I'd say it's impressive, but it's actually kind of normal for me. That's what I do. I love to ramble. Hello my loves, and thank you for joining me. It's Kirsten and we're at the start of May's reset video, and I'm actually filming this pretty early on in the month of April, which I'm happy with. Last time I did for April's reset, I started that halfway through the month and I felt like I had to rush to get everything done. Wanted to start nice and early this month. Now, we do have a few things that we do. If you haven't seen these videos before, they're really simple. It's just what I do to get ready for the month ahead, which is mainly setting up my journal spreads, sorting out a few extra books that maybe didn't fit onto my TBR for the month, little things like that. Sometimes I add in decorating, so last month I added in this little string of daisies. I don't know if I want to add anything else, to be quite honest, at the minute, or change anything. I really like the way it's looking and I think it's really nice and spring. Like, I like the fact that we've got the fake grass and the tulips and everything, so I might just leave it. We'll see. If I change my mind, then you'll see that in this reset video, but as of now I'm not feeling like changing anything. But we do have the reading journals to do, and do want to go, normally I would say go book shopping, so I normally allow myself one book a month to go out book shopping. It's a book that I don't really have on my radar, I haven't really heard about, but just seems interesting, so I just browse. However, I'm changing it up slightly, so instead of going book shopping this time, I'm going to go to my library, which does mean I can't do it until towards the end of the month because I can only have a library book out for 3 weeks, and as much as I can renew it, I feel kind of bad in case someone else wants it. But yeah, I figured this time I'm actually going to go to the library, so towards the end of this video we'll go to my local library and see what they have on offer, just have a little perusal, and again, hopefully it'll be a book that I just haven't heard much about, but the synopsis sounds really good, so trying it out with the library this time. But I do have ideas for what I want to do with my reading journals. So for May, wait, what? That wasn't quite the sentence I meant. I have ideas for the journal setups I want to do because I have 2 journals that I do. I have my reading journal and then my bullet journal, so like my actual weekly planner, all the things I need to do. So for the reading journal for May, we're gonna go with a green theme because I found these stickers in a shop and I'm obsessed and I kind of want to use them. Like, I don't know how well you can see that because of the reflection, but they're like little froggies and stuff, and it just looks kind of cute. So we're gonna do those. So that's the theme I'm going with for this. It actually reminded me of an Animal Crossing YouTuber. Well, she's a gaming YouTuber, but I watch her for the Animal Crossing videos. I've spoken about her before, which is Melissaverse. I'll have her channel linked below for you in case you're interested. But she's been doing a froggy island on Animal Crossing, and this just reminded me of it so much, and I couldn't say no. So of course we're going to go with that for the reading journal. So that's the plans for that. And then for my bullet journal, I like to try and go for more of like a vintage vibe, just so there's a bit of a difference between the two. And this time I'm thinking Alice in Wonderland because I've got some Alice in Wonderland stickers. I also picked up this note paper in last month's reset video, and it's a nice purple colour, so I feel like that would go, so we'll see what we can do with that. That is my thinking, and I think that's it really. It's not actually going to be much more. Obviously if other things come up then we'll do that. Actually, I do need to do a graphic for my readathon. So if you don't know, I host a bi-monthly readathon that's all about resting, relaxing and tackling your TBRs. And previously it was called Tackle Your TBR Readathon. However, changing it up slightly, and we were discussing it on Discord and settled on the name of Relax and Readathon. But I'm also thinking of changing up what we do with that, and it would be really nice to do a bit more interactive, other things that aren't to do with reading prompts but just like more lifestyle prompts and stuff. So it would be really fun to put together a graphic for that, because I want to film the announcement video for that, because I pre-film as much as I can, which is going to be going up in May, about 2 weeks after this video, but I can't really film it until I've actually got that graphic sorted and decided on all the different prompts and stuff. So I think we might add that into this video as well, just preparing that, getting prepared for some videos that I'm filming and stuff. So we'll see how it goes. But regardless, I hope you're doing really well. Let me know what you've been up to and what you do to get ready for the month ahead. But yeah, I think we've spoken about everything we need to in this video. I'm actually really hungry, so I'm gonna go do some lunch, and I'm planning to actually do the reading journal today. I'm really feeling it, and I have this afternoon kind of free, so thinking of starting that, and then we'll see where the rest of this video takes us. I hope been a few days and I have set up my reading journal. As you would have seen, I do like this setup. I mean, obviously I had to redo the first page because I just wasn't a fan. It didn't show up the froggy stickers, which honestly I should have expected considering they're green frogs on a dark green tissue paper thing. You live and learn, it's fun, we all make mistakes, but I like the way it's kind of come out. It feels really like spring themed and I like that. So yeah, very simple, enjoying it. And yeah, I don't really have too much else to say on this spread. It was just a fun time and it reminds me of spring, which is perfect. Although today it's going, no, we're going to be in winter again because it can't make up its damn mind. Anyway, I do have a confession though, because the plan was to do the reading journal and then do the new readathon graphic, which I did do the readathon graphic. I just forgot to film me doing that. Like I was meant to screen record and show all the changes and show what I was doing and stuff, and I forgot. So you can see the graphic. I like it, I like how it's worked out. Obviously with each of the readathons, because they're bi-monthly, I change up what's actually around them. So this time obviously Pride month for June, so I did that. You know, I like to change it up as we go along. So like October will be Halloween themed and stuff. I like that, it's a little bit of fun, doesn't take too long to do. I do it all in Canva, and as I say, I was going to show you, but I forgot to record it. So that's not happening. But what I do want to do is I want to add in a couple of TBR prompts. So I have a TBR game, for those of you that haven't watched it. It's a very simple game. I have a coloured sided dice, I have a stack of prompts, and what I want to do is add in a couple of new prompts because I've taken out 2 that were to do with Goodreads because I've just not been using Goodreads. And I know there's Story Graph, but I'm just not interested in updating anything like that. Like, I like the fact that I have my reading tracker in here. I also have Core Pile just for me to have in a spreadsheet so that when I do like half year wrap up, end of year wrap ups, that it's all there and I can do that if I want to. And I have these vlogs where I keep up to date with all my reading and stuff. So I don't really feel the need to have Goodreads or Storygraph or something. I don't know, I might change my mind, in which case the 2 prompts that were in there, which was highest rated and lowest rated, could go back in, but we'll see. So I want to add in a couple more prompts. I also want to brainstorm a few other ideas. So a couple that I want to add in is previous TBR book, so a book that's been on a previous TBR that I haven't got round to. And then I've also had a prompt from one of you, which is lovely, which is match a book to the previous book pick. So this will be a problem if this one comes first, but I'll have to work on what I can do for if it came up first. But basically the idea is, if it comes up in my game, the prompt before it, whatever book I chose for that prompt, I then have to match the next book to it. It could be a similar cover, it could be a similar genre, whatever I feel like. That was a really fun prompt idea actually. So I'm gonna have to brainstorm a few ideas. So what I'm thinking, because I didn't show off the graphic that I was doing, is I'll show you kind of making these what I do for that, I guess. I mean, it's probably not anything that interesting, but I need to do it. I've already filmed my May TBR. The prompts won't be in that. I pre-film because it makes my life a lot easier, especially because I work full-time, so to be able to get out videos on a regular basis for you, I pre-film the ones that I'm able to. Big part of this. The only things that don't get pre-filmed, as it were, are things like wrap-ups, because I can't pre-film those, weekly vlogs, because obviously I'm updating as I go, and also this style of video I can't pre-film in the sense that I film it across the month, so it's like a month-long vlog. Does that make sense? Maybe. But yeah, anyway, so I've already done that, so these will be in for June. And then I have my actual bullet journal to set up for May. So, and I have an idea, I mean, I already showed you, like, I'm kind of thinking Alice in Wonderland vintage idea. So hopefully that one goes to plan. And I don't have to redo the title page like I did for the reading journal. Then that'll be it. Then we'll go through a couple of the books. So we've got 2 more days on my Discord to choose what the Discord pick is going to be for the month. So once that's settled, we'll do that. Any extra books? I'm looking at the what got chosen for the May TBR, and actually there isn't many extra books that I needed to read for a video that didn't fit in for this, so that's actually quite good. So I might just go through my shelves and just kind of mood pick, maybe one option for that, go through the Discord pick, and then obviously we'll go to the library, but that has to be done closer to the end of the month. Yeah, that's everything. I feel like I'm feeling very productive, but then I've had 5 days off, And these 5 days off, I haven't actually done anything much. Like, I've spent time with my partner, but that was like a chill in-house day with him. And then I've been at home for the rest of the 4 days. And it's been really nice because it's been able to, like, it's allowed me to relax. And it's also allowed me to get ahead of like YouTube stuff, which has been great. And I think I've just needed this. I've needed this 5 days to be able to catch up with everything, because generally what happens is out of my 5 days, I normally end up being busy for 2 or 3 of the days, which isn't too much of a problem, but it means that I can never quite catch up with everything. Now I've been able to, and I just feel really like settled and really like, ah, we're on top of things. Give it another week's time and I'll probably be like, oh my God, I'm way behind again. But as of right now, I'm feeling really like settled and happy with where I am in terms of YouTube stuff, which is great. And I was thinking, because for May, I've had, because I normally change up the book that's on display, and I have put, let me just get it, it's going to be easier. For April's reset, I settled on putting the Cleave-In on display because I just really like this colour, and it's spring to me as far as I'm concerned with the cover. Then I was reading this one in April, so I had to swap out the book, so I had something on display, and I chose The Ladies of Grace Allieu, which I really love this cover, it's really pretty. When I finished this one, I forgot to put it back there, so I did that yesterday. So this is back out on display for the rest of April, but I'm honestly thinking to put this one back out for May because I really like it. I really like the cover. It's a nice simple one. It still kind of spring feels to me, and I really do like Susanna Clarke. Like, their writing is amazing, so I think I'm just going to do that and we'll have that one out for May. So yeah, so there really isn't anything in terms of changing up displays and things like that going on because there's just not much. And I'm happy with how it all looks and stuff for now. It'll probably be changed up for June, but right, well, I've rambled for almost 10 minutes, which is, I mean, I'd say it's impressive, but it's actually kind of normal for me. That's what I do. I love to ramble. But yeah, I think we're going to get on, do the bullet journal, and then, yeah, get the prompts done for the TBR game. Then I've got to decide what I feel like mood reading and add into the TBR. Like, the game was chaotic because I wanted to do the game where I focused on continuing series and rereads, and it was a lot of fun, but some of the choices were just interesting. I mean, I say that, but actually, you know what, it was a pretty good game. Like, I can't complain. It was pretty good. I got quite a bit of continuing series on there, which I was happy with, so that's good. But I don't know what I want to read as an extra book. Do I continue with choosing one to continue a series and continue with that, or do I go with a reread? I think that's what we need to do, is choose an extra book that's either continuing a series or a reread, so it's in keeping with my theme for May. I feel like that would be a good idea. Don't know what though, I have no idea. But you know what, we've got plenty of time to think about that, so when I have made a decision, you can come with me and we'll pull it off the shelves, but I don't know what that would be. But I'll probably do that close to the time when we end up going to the library anyway, because it makes sense to have it all together. Okay, right, I'm just waffling. I'm gonna get on. I've got some editing and bits to do, so I'll catch up with you probably in like a week's time or something. We'll see. a rainy, gloomy day, which is a perfect day if I didn't have to work in that in approximately 5 hours time. But, you know, hopefully by then it's cleared. This is perfect weather to chill at home with a cup of tea, read a book. It's gorgeous. I love this sort of weather, and to be fair, I don't really mind working in the rain. Like, it's not too bad. But that's not the update that we're supposed to be given at all. Instead, we have the update of my bullet journal and the fact that I did some new reading prompts for my TBR game. So we'll start off with the bullet journal first. And I like this theme that I decided to go with. I wanted to go with Alice in Wonderland, but make it vintage. That was the idea behind it, and I feel like we did a pretty good job. My only disappointment is that these stickers that, like this one here, it says "We're all mad here," and a few of the other stickers on this page and that, they're very faint. I didn't realise that they were transparent because they're on a white background normally, but they are transparent stickers, and so I think some of them worked pretty well, but the one that says "We're all mad here," it just doesn't really show up, which is a bit of a shame. But other than that, I actually quite like this one. I feel like it went really well with what I was trying to do. I think the macaron washi tape worked perfectly for this. So yeah, I'm really pleased with this one actually. I really like it. I like the idea of taking something like Alice in Wonderland and then making it vintage. That was really fun to do. And it was inspired by these little, whoops. They aren't stickers, but they're like collagey stuff that I received ages ago, like a few years ago actually. And it was inspired by that, and I thought actually I could probably do a whole spread around that. And I really like it. I like the way it's turned out. It's been a lot of fun. I will admit I've been using my bullet journal a little bit less lately. I tend to do it on a weekly basis rather than every single day because I've got back into the habit of having things on my phone as a to-do list, which I can then check off and it has like a little cross through it, mainly because I can have that with me at all times, whereas this one I can't. So I do find that I like planning ahead for like when I'm going to be filming certain things and things like that for like the week and month, but on a daily I tend not to go into this as much. So I don't know whether for June we'll try out a slightly different layout of this. Maybe we just change it to maybe a monthly calendar in it with then weekly spreads, but maybe just like an overview with a short line of, okay, on this day I want to film this video, I want to do these bullet journals, I want to start this sort of thing, because I do have a lot of things that I'm juggling at the minute. So I'm wondering whether just to change it up a little bit. I also, hang on, I feel like you're a bit close. Do we want to move you back? Oh, it made zero difference. Anyway, I also tend to try and plan out my reading. So once I've got my TBR, I then look at the month, and because I do shift work, I try and work out what books would fit best into what week. So if I'm on earlies, I know I want something that's a little bit more head empty, just vibing, whereas if I'm on lates, I can put a little bit more focus into my book, or on my days off, you know. I try and plan out a lot of things, so I'm wondering for June whether we just do a complete makeover on how we do this. So it'll be an interesting one to try, and I feel like it'd be a good point to try as well, because we've done half a year of it being this way, which, you know, it has been good, I have liked it, and then we can do the latter half of the year, or at least a few months, of trying out a different way of doing this and just see which one I actually end up using more. I have plans and ideas, and obviously you'll see what I mean in the next reset video for June. But as it stands, for May, I love the theme that we did. And again, May will be like the last test month to see whether I start using this on the daily more, or whether I stick to just doing it as a weekly plan and monthly plan. And we'll see, because monthly plan's kind of hard with this layout that I've done, because I don't have the month overview in a full spread at the start. So yeah. Anyway, right, that's a lot of waffling for me actually about this, but it's something that I've been thinking about for like the last month and a bit, because I started realising I'm really not using it the way I started off using this. Figure instead of not bullet journaling, just adapt the way I bullet journal. Now that I've thought about it, and now that I've even said about it, I feel really happy with that idea. So we're going to adapt this for June, but for May it's cute and I like the Alice in Wonderland theme, so that's really good. I'm really pleased with that. And then, as we saw, I did film the TBR bit. I mentioned already that in my TBR game I have prompts that I use to choose the books that I read for the month, because I have such a large selection of books to choose between. I never know what to choose. Like, sometimes I'll have an idea and I'll be like, oh, actually I want to read these sort of books for this month, and so that's really helpful. It helps narrow it down, and then the prompts help fine tune it. I have done like a couple of months where I've done mood reads, and it was good, but I definitely had times where I was like, I don't know what to read. I think the only month that that works for me is October, because then all I want to be reading is the gothic stuff. So it works really well in October, but not the rest of the year. So we have prompts. And the different prompts, they're on a different mix of stuff. So some of them are genre based, so read a classic, read a thriller, read mythology or something like that. Then some of them are to do with how the book looks, so like we've got foil on the cover, a book with a bright cover, a book with a dark cover. So there's some sort of like aesthetic ones. Then we have ones that are trying to prompt me to read books that I've purchased recently, so we have that as one. We've also got an anticipated read, we've got books that have been on my shelf the longest, so just to get me to actually be reading the ones that have been sat on my shelves for ages, but also ones that I've been picking up recently so that they don't end up sitting on my shelves for a very long time. I have a few random ones, so like my season picks, because I do seasonal TBRs. Oh, I should probably add in read a book of my yearly TBR. I might do that, but I added in a couple, so 2 of them were reading books from a certain year that I purchased them in, because what I do, let me get it, I track all the books that I receive and I do it by year, and this way it gives me an overview of when I'm getting the books and when they're actually getting read by. And so when I was flicking through this, I realised that since 2022 I've still got over 30 books that I received during 2022 that I haven't read, and then 2023 is a lot more because obviously that was only last year. So to again help me make sure that I'm reading those books, I've got a couple prompts now to read a book that I have purchased, I should have put / received, during 2022 or 2023. Again, I thought that would be a fun one to do. Then I also added in a BIPOC author because I didn't realise I didn't have that as a prompt. Then what was the other one I added in? Oh, and then I had one that was suggested, which was, I think I've spoke about, did I speak about it in this video already? Where it was match a book to the previous book that was picked. And then also one that I've been thinking about adding for a while, which is to have a book from a previous TBR that I never got round to. So yeah, so there's quite a few, and then I'll add in that one which I just said about and now just forgotten. It's gone. When I edit this video, I'll add it into this because then I'll know what it was. So yeah, so this is just nice. It means that I have a nice stack of prompts to play around with, a few new things added in. I don't mind if this just grows because that just gives more variety for everything. And then what I do is I have this for the ones that have been chosen. So like these are all the prompts that were for May, so they won't get included until this goes down to pretty much nothing, and then they will get shuffled up and put back in. That way it just means that we get variety and everything. So yeah, so that's all that done, which is really good, which means the last bit of this video is just going to the library to choose a library book, and then also I think going through my shelves and choosing one extra book. I don't know if I'm going to get all of this read. We might be able to, because there's 5 weeks in May, so I might be able to squeeze it all in. You never know. See, the problem is I really want to reread a book, so I'm thinking that, which actually, you know what, it's right here. Let me just grab it. So Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. I listened to this as an audiobook back in 2021, I believe, and I really enjoyed it. So I really want to read the physical copy and then continue on with this series, but I can't continue on with the series without having read this book. I'm really tempted to add this one to the TBR, but there's also other books that are continuations of series that I would like, but they're more fantasy leaning, and when you see May's TBR you would realise that that's got a heck of a lot of fantasy in, so I'm not sure. At the minute I'm leaning towards this because it sticks with the extra prompt that I gave myself for the month of May, which is the books that I read either have to be rereads or continuations of series, apart from a couple that the game didn't let me have that with, but that's fine. But to be fair, the one that it didn't let me have that with is the Discord book club pick, which is actually perfect for what I need. This would be really good. I've been thinking about this one a lot, so I really am tempted, but we'll do another go over my shelves. I really want to reread. Do I just reread this rather than go through my shelves? Because the only other one that I'm seriously considering is, okay, I'm holding up the first book because I can't be bothered to go and move all those. The Labyrinth of Drakes by Marie Brennan. It would be the 4th book in the Natural History of Dragons series, so memoir by Lady Tran. I love this series and I keep putting it off because of how much I love it, and I know I'm going to love it. I know I'm going to have a great time with it, and so whenever I have things like that, I always kind of think to myself, oh, but there's no real rush for me to read it because I know I'm going to love it. But I do want to finish this series this year, and I do love the illustrations that come with this book. Like, we're following Lady Trent. She wants nothing more than to be a dragon naturalist. However, this is seen as a very unfeminine pursuit, and because of the time we're set in, that's very frowned upon. So instead, she manages to get onto an expedition, but only as an artist, not as a natural scientist. That's why you get lots of artwork in here. However, things change and she's able to start setting off on her own expeditions, which she starts in the 2nd book. Each book tackles like a slightly different topic, and I really love this series. And I've only got 2 books left, and that's also why I keep putting it off, because I don't want it to end. But I also know the minute it ends, I'm going to restart the series because I love it. Like, this is a new favourite series. Like, this is my adult version of Sarah J. Maas. So when I was younger, I adored Thrown Off Glass series so much that I reread that series every single year. And I haven't done that for about 2 years now. I mean, I still love those books because of the nostalgia. I love, honestly, some of the later books because of some of the characters that get introduced and stuff. Like, I adore that series. But I feel like this is going to be my reread every single year comfort series. So I feel like this has replaced Throne of Glass for me. Never going to get rid of those books. We'll probably get around to rereading that series at some point. I would really like to do that. This is going to be the new comfort series for me. I do really want to continue on with this, but I also want to reread this. So it's going to be one of these two, but I don't know. The good thing is I'm not going to the library for another week yet, because we're still in the middle of April at this point. So that gives me a week to decide which one of these I'm going to read. The only reason why I'm not leaning towards this one as much is because of the sheer amount of fantasy that I've got in my TBR. And so I'm just wondering whether, because I've been thinking about this one so much and it's not fantasy, that would be a really good one to do. And then maybe I can reread this series, like, not reread this series, continue with this series in June if a prompt comes up that I manage to fit it into. I'm not sure. I think we're going to base it on whatever I get out of the library. If for some reason I end up getting another fantasy book out of the library, which I don't think I'm going to go for. I think I would like to go for something different. So I'm just wondering whether to push it outside my comfort zone, because there's been a couple of book recommendations that I've seen lately that look like they'll be really good for like thriller or a contemporary literary fiction book. I'm not sure. Basically, we're going to have a look and see what we find, but I do know there has been a few books in their fantasy section that I've had my eye on that I'm like would be really interesting, and I haven't heard people talking about them, so I'm kind of leaning towards that as well. We'll base it on that. If it's a fantasy book, then we won't continue on with this series. If it's a fantasy pick, we'll choose Annihilation. If it's not a fantasy pick, then I guess we're in the same situation because I still wouldn't know what to choose between. Maybe I'll just stick both on and we'll just see what gets read in the month. But yeah, right, okay, I've waffled on quite a lot for this update actually, about lots of random little things. I hope you don't mind. The next time I see you, we would have been to the library and we'll be going through the little books, and then it will be all done. So yeah, we're almost at the end. Thanks for bearing with me. to the library, and honestly I enjoyed it. I enjoyed going to the library instead of going out and buying a book. It was really fun. It was more challenging in a way because I was limited to what was there. So I did have a little look around the fantasy section. Nothing was really calling out to me. The book that I had been thinking about, the first one was no longer there. They had the second one but not the rest. What was good is there is a series that I have started, which is The Ninth Reign. I read that first book, but I haven't read the second book, Bitter Twins, and I've been struggling to find that anywhere. So it's really nice to know that my local library has that book, and they also have the third book. So when I feel like continuing on with that series, I can just get it from the library, so that was really good. And then I decided to go through each of the different sections. So I did the fantasy section, the thriller section, and then I did the fiction, and that is where I chose my book. So as we saw, I had 3 different contenders, and in the end I went for The Bandit Queens by Readingearthnymph. Sorry, I probably butchered pronunciation. This is a book, yes, I have heard of this because I actually decided to change it up slightly at the library as well, because I decided to go for not just books I've never heard of, but books I've heard of and thought would be interesting and thought maybe I'll try that eventually. And that is one of the books for this. So Bandit Queens is one of the books for that, where I have heard of this. I've heard some really good reviews of this book, but I was never sure if it was going to be for me or not. So when I saw it in the library, I was like, actually, this is a really good time for me to try out some books that I wasn't sure if I would enjoy. So I'm very excited that they had a copy. So this one is following Geeta. And Geeta is believed to have killed her vanished husband, a rumour she hasn't bothered trying to correct because a reputation like that can keep a single woman safe in rural India. But when she is approached for help in ridding another wife of her abusive drunk of a husband, her reluctant agreement sets in motion a chain of events that will change the lives of all the women in the village. Apparently it is a darkly irreverent and fresh take on a feminist revenge thriller, which sounds really good. And it will also be really interesting to see, obviously, women in India, the things that they deal with. The fact that living here in England, I'm quite lucky because with certain respects to women, things are a lot more advanced than other places such as India. Honestly, I'm so lucky for where I live in that regard. So it's definitely something that I think will be really interesting to learn about, see about, and also be a fun thriller time as well. So I think it's going to be a really good book. This one was also longlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction in 2023, and that is a long list that I have been thinking about dabbling in because I love watching YouTube videos on people that go through different long lists and being like, oh, these are the long lists, these are my reactions, these are the ones I think I'm going to give a try. Like those videos where they actually do that, I've always enjoyed them, but I'm never sure what one I would go for, because there's so many different long lists and prizes out there for books that I don't know which one to choose. So I'm wondering whether maybe to start dabbling in trying maybe 3 books from different long lists and seeing what long list I really like, and maybe doing like an overview of, I think this long list is the best long list that works for my reading taste. I don't know, you'll have to let me know what you think of that sort of thing. I'm still kind of idea process where I'm just having a bit of a brain jump of ideas, and so this is one of the ones where it might bloom into something, it might not, it might get fine-tuned a little bit, but regardless, I'm really excited to read this one. Like I say, I have heard some really good things about it, and I think it's going to be really hard-hitting and just entertaining at the same time, dealing with these darker topics but doing it in a way that, I know, makes it so that you can really enjoy the book at the same time. I think I've done a terrible job of explaining that. Anyway, very pleased that this is going to be the extra pick for the month that I'm going to be reading in May. Honestly, I think I'm going to get into it the first week of May if I can. I've got a very busy couple of weeks coming up, but hopefully I can definitely get into it in the first week. It's not that long of a book either. It's just over 330 pages, so I don't imagine it will take me too long. Maybe I'll see if there's an audiobook. I think for the next couple of weeks I might have to try and dabble in audiobooks, so we'll see what we can find, but I'm excited for this one. So then we're going to go through, as I normally do in these reset videos, what the Discord book club pick for the month of May is going to be. We have actually already decided June as well. We're starting to, something that I should have thought about but never did, pick the book 2 months in advance so that people that use their library have plenty of time to get the library books. So June's pick has already been decided, so if you're interested, I'll have Discord linked below for you. But for May, we are reading Daughter of the Forest by Juliet Marília. During the TBR video, you're going to see me holding up 2 books because on the day I filmed that, the very next day was the cut-off point and it was so tight. Honestly, this one and the other one that it could have been, 1 point of difference, and it kept swapping and it was so close. It was really good. But this one I'm very excited about. It's a bit of a chunkier book, so I think I'm going to read this one towards the end of the month because that's when I've got more time. Or maybe I'll read like 50 pages a week. I don't know, we'll decide. This one is a folklore reimagining. So we're following the story of the evil stepmother that changes our main character's brothers into, is it swans or cranes or something? Let's try this again. So we have the evil stepmother, Lady Una. She is a sorceress as fair as day with a heart as black as night. And she captivates Lord Colum and his 6 sons, but she cannot enchant his daughter, Sorsha. Frustrated in her attempts to destroy the family, Una binds the brothers with a spell only Sorsha can lift. If she fails, they will die. And this book is meant to be quite dark in places. It deals with a lot of darker themes, but it's also meant to be really beautiful. So I'm really excited to read this one. It has been recommended many times. So I'm really pleased it's actually on the Discord book club pick. I think it will be a really good one to discuss and talk over with them throughout the month of May. So I'm really pleased with this one. This one is a longer book. So this one is 650-ish pages. Gonna take a bit more time to get into. I might try and split this over a couple of weeks, but very excited to get into it nonetheless. And then I did finally decide on the extra book from my shelves that I wanted to read. As we know, I was stuck between Annihilation and A Natural History of Drag, like continuing on with that series. I have decided to go with Annihilation. Decided a reread will be good, especially because May's going to be so busy. This isn't a long book at all. It's less than 200 pages, so it'll be really good. A nice easy one, feel really accomplished in the month, especially if things get really busy and I get a bit behind on reading. I've got a nice short book to add to it. Like I say, I have been thinking about this one a lot. It was adapted into a Netflix film and this is really unusual. It's like a sci-fi creepy horror book. So we are in Area X and we are following this group of 4 women who embark on this expedition into Area X. Before these women, there have been many expeditions into this area, but they have all ended in disaster. One ended in a mass suicide, another one in a hail of gunfire, and the 11th in a fatal cancer epidemic. And they really need to know what's going on in this area. So we've got 4 women that are going out to explore it. I listened to this one for the first time on audiobook, I think about probably 3 years ago at this point, and I really enjoyed it. So I would like to reread it and then continue on with this trilogy and then read more by Jeff Vandermeer. Jeff Vandermeer is an author that I quite like because it scratches that weird books that I like. So I actually do really like weird literary books that make you think. Some of them I can't get on with and then some of them I really enjoy. I'm definitely gonna have to do a weird books recommendation at some point, but this is the sort of weird that I really like. It's also kind of reminiscent the kind of horror aspect that I like with H.P. Lovecraft in that kind of cosmic horror sci-fi stuff. Like I like that, and Annihilation kind of has that. So I'm really looking forward to getting back into this, seeing if I enjoy it as much or more than when I listened to it. So yeah, I'm really intrigued to get into this one. So those are the 3 books that we're adding to my May TBR. Well, technically the Discord book club pick did manage to get onto the actual May TBR, so I'm only adding 2 extra books this month, which works out really well for me. But you'll have to let me know, have you read any of these 3? What do you think of them? And also, what do you think of that video idea about the long list reading selections, whether it would be like maybe some Goodreads ones, because you get the Goodreads ones that'll be obviously at the end of the year, or the Women's Prize for Fiction, or there's so many. So let me know in the comments below what ones that you really like and whether you would be interested in videos like that. But that is it for this reset video. We've done everything I set out to do. We've done the book, we have added some prompts to my TBR game, and we've set up the journals. So yeah, I feel pretty prepared for the month ahead. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video. I know there wasn't as much like decorating stuff and all of that, but might get some of that coming up soon. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. As I said, let me know if you've read any of these, what you do to get ready for the month ahead, and anything else you would like to see in these videos. Let me know all of that below. But I am going to stop talking your ear off and disappear. So if you have made it this far, then let's put a... Oh, you know what, actually? let's put a crown for Bandit Queens in the comments below. So if you made it this far or you just don't know what you want to comment, leave a little crown emoji in the comments below. And thank you once again so much for watching. I truly appreciate each and every single one of you that takes the time to watch these videos. It means so much to me, so thank you. And if you have enjoyed it, then maybe consider giving it that thumbs up, subscribing, commenting. Those 3 things really help this channel out, so again, thank you. But my social media links and anyone I've mentioned will be linked below for you, and I will of course catch you in the very next video.